I think what the question was, whenever the person's asking you about the Bible, if an atheist comes to you and says, you say that God is a loving God, yet 1 Samuel 15:3, he commands Saul to wipe out the Amalekites and includes infants and nursing children, and then they say to you, can you, hold on, please let me finish, Sye, please. So whenever they come to you and say, you say you have a loving God, yet the scripture says this, how do I reconcile? I'm not a believer, but how do you reconcile that? You just won't even talk to them about scripture?
Talk to them if it's a sincere question.
So please address that question for me.
No problem. God is not all loving. God hates some. It would make no sense to send somebody to hell for an eternity if God loved them. That'd be a weird way to show love, don't you think?
We agree.
God hates some.
We agree.
He hates some. You know.
So that was a clip from the after show with the debate between Matt Dillahunty and Sye Ten Bruggencate, which was an excellent debate. Matt dominated throughout that entire debate, and that debate and my impressions of it are worthy of an entire video itself, or maybe even a couple of videos, but I wanted to concentrate on this one particular thing that Sye mentioned in the after show, which I think is very revealing and very interesting because it raises some other points that are related to the idea that God can hate. Now I question just how many Christians would agree with Sye when he says that God hates some people. Because the one thing that we always hear from Christians, even the ones that condemn people, non-believers, to hell, is that God is all loving and that he loves everyone. And you kind of have to wonder, you know, obviously that's all bullshit because God doesn't exist, but you kind of have to wonder, why do they say that? Like, from the point of view of Christianity, why would they espouse this kind of belief? And I think it's very clear. It's because they want to encourage people to join their religion, to give them this false sense of love and camaraderie. And if, you know, their God is all loving, then it's going to help weak-minded people that feel rejected and by society and so forth. Vulnerable people, religion can prey upon them. And I believe that's why they say God is all loving. Whether God is all loving or whether God hates is supported by the Bible is another story. In fact, it might be true that Sye's statement that God hates some people is supported by the Bible. Certainly, it's logically supported, because if you send people to hell for the sole purpose of making them suffer because you're angry at them, then that clearly implies hatred. But it's interesting that Sye says in the debate that stealing is wrong because God is not a thief, meaning that things are right or wrong depending on the properties that adhere to God. And yet Sye has said in the past that he has a love for his fellow man, that he loves everyone, blah, blah, blah. But then yet he admits here that God hates some people. So then you have to wonder, why does Sye then want to possess characteristics that God does not possess? Because God does not love everyone by his own admission. So there's that huge inconsistency which reveals that his position is complete bullshit as far as I'm concerned. The reason why they have, and also the other thing is that why on earth is God so human-like? It's an anthropomorphized God that just conveniently has all of the same deficiencies that we possess. It gets angry. Why do human beings get angry, and why do human beings have hatred, and why do human beings take revenge? You know, because obviously sending someone to hell for an eternity is revenge. So why on earth, well, why does God possess all these human traits? But more importantly, before we can even tackle that, why do humans possess that? Humans possess anger, hatred, and revenge for evolutionary reasons. You need anger in order to protect yourself. It's a self-defense mechanism. Other animals can get angry. If you have a pet and you tease it It's going to get angry, and eventually it's going to bite you, like a dog or even a cat. It's going to scratch you if it gets angry. Human beings are no different than any of these other animals. So it's not atypical for the selective pressures for them to select for anger to be the same for us. We aren't an exception. We are an example of animals. And so we possess these same characteristics, anger and revenge. Taking revenge is critical because that's the behavior that stems from anger. And if you never sought to take revenge, then you would be apathetic about any wrongdoing that happens to you. You know, oh, my daughter was raped, I don't care. Someone stole all my stuff, I don't care. Someone killed me and no one else cares. Nature would not select for that kind of apathy. You're doomed for extinction. So the reason why we possess anger, revenge, is because of natural selection. Now, how on earth does that make sense for a God? God is not subjected to the mechanisms of natural selection. It makes no sense from the point of view of omnipotence and omniscience and perfection, which are all the attributes that they give God. So isn't it just so funny that it possesses the same exact traits that we expect to see from natural selection? It's bullshit, guys. It's complete bullshit. Now, Sye is a moron. He does this presuppositionalist thing. And I'm going to go into depth about how bad that form of argumentation is in a future video. I'm going to really analyze some of the points that were brought up in that debate and highlight them because they're really interesting to talk about. But I wanted to focus on this anger issue specifically for now because it really does reveal that the concept of God, especially the Christian God, is complete bullshit. This is Enigma Hood signing off.